All right. Eric,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. If you call the meeting to order, we'll go ahead and we'll get started.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and we will take the roll call.
Lightman. Here. Lindley. Here. Newbill. Evangelikoff.
Here,
Mrs. Evangelikoff, since we don't have our fourth member here this evening, I would like to move the election of officer to next month. I think we'll be fine without that position this
I was
evening.
going to say, whatever will we do without a secretary?
Largely ceremonial, so that could be put off till June.
Okay. All right. We're good?
Yes.
Okay. Don't I read this first and then we do the other stuff? So Eric, I really need to read my little welcoming statement and all
Yes.
that before we go any further.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to stand right there while I do that?
Sure.
Okay, great. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 14th meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. If you are joining by video, your microphone will automatically muted and your video will not be on when you enter the meeting. Please make sure you use both your first and last name. If you would like to speak, you must click on the raise hand action and wait to be called in order to alert our IT attendant to unmute your speaker and turn on your video, which is necessary if you want to take part in the meeting. When you begin to speak, speak up and identify yourself before proceeding. When speaking, petitioner, public, and board members, make sure your mic is on and speak into it. The purpose of this meeting is to review and consider all requests for relief from any standard in the zoning ordinance, including variances, use variances, special exceptions, conditional use requests, and administrative appeals. All of the cases heard tonight will have a positive, negative, or no decision made by the board. If no decision is made, the petition will be set for another hearing. If a decision is made that you disagree with, either as the petitioner or an interested party, you must file for an appeal of the board's decision no later than 30 days after the decision is made in an appropriate court. If you think you may potentially want to appeal a decision of this board, you must give this board a written appearance before hearing. If you are here in person, a sign-in sheet is provided, which will act as an appearance. You should sign the sheet if you want to speak, but also if you do not wish to speak, but might want to appeal our decision. A written petition that is set for hearing tonight satisfies that requirement for the petitioner. If you file your appeal later than 30 days after the decision of this board or give no written appearance tonight, you may not appeal the board's decision. Because the rules on appeal are statutory and specific on what you can do, the board highly suggests you seek legal advice. If you are a petitioner, in addition to filing an appeal, you may first file a motion for rehearing within 14 days of the board's decision. Tonight, we have our minimum quorum of 3 people present, which may include temporary appointed members. While we can conduct business with 3 members, any votes must be unanimous. Anything less than a unanimous vote will be considered no action, and the case will be reset for next month. Let's see, with respect to the public comment portion of the meeting, public comments will be taken only on the specific petition being heard before the board. Unlike city council meetings where there is a time for anyone to comment on any issue, we do not have that at the BZA, and comments will only be taken for or against the petition before the board. Okay, at this time, we will approve the agenda. And Eric?
Yes, we would like to amend the agenda to move 26 UV 14 to the first item this evening.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I need a motion first.
Oh,
So
go ahead.
moved.
I'll make a motion to move 26 UV 14 to the first spot in the new business agenda.
Okay, second.
A second.
Roll call?
Lightman. Yes. Lindley.
Yes.
Evangelikov.
Yes. All right. Now let's approve thank you, Eric. Now let's approve the minutes from April 9th. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
A second.
Roll call?
Lightman. Yes. Lindley.
Yes.
Evangelikov.
Yes. And approval of the proofs of publication.
I
Yep.
move to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Lightman. Yes. Lindley.
Yes.
Evangelikov.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we are going to take up 26 UV 14. The petitioner is the City of Elkhart Redevelopment Commission.
Site location is 131 South Main Street. The request is to vary from section 15.2 permitted uses in the central business district to allow for temporary structures not related to construction for a temporary pocket park.
Okay, will the petitioner please come forward?
Good evening, Mike Huber, Development Services Director, City of Elkhart. First, I would like to thank you for accommodating our request to move the item up on the agenda. I do have another previous engagement that I have to meet at the learner here shortly, so I appreciate your flexibility in the agenda and accommodating that request. So the petition before you tonight, I am here representing the Redevelopment Commission. The Redevelopment Commission actually acquired the property at the northwest corner of Maine and Lexington, but through tax sale after a building was demolished there. We've maintained that space as a potential development site for some time, but we haven't had any significant development interest in it. It's continued to be used as just a grassy area. There's some residents that I see they're walking their dogs and letting their dogs do their business there. Anyway, as we've had a new restaurant move in next door and we've had some new businesses in the area in downtown in that block, we wanted to improve that area and we wanted to create a nice little pocket park until some time that we actually do have a development proposal that could come on that site. As noted by Eric, the variance for tonight is one of the things we want to do is we want to put a couple of temporary structures, some nice pergolas to cover and shade some tables that are outside. And we've been working on a small concept to take like a storage container and turn it into a little bit of a pop-up restaurant, not restaurant, but you can serve like prepackaged food or drinks or kinds of things and make it a little station where we hope to put it out for RFP to have a vendor come in and actually operate during events or things. We've got the Dora now. So just one more way to kind of add vibrancy to the downtown and present opportunities for small business owners to activate space. So the variance is required because temporary structures are not currently permitted. And so we'd like your permission to be able to install the temporary structures. They would be removed, obviously, if we had a development come along at some point in the future.
So are these pictures pretty close to what is?
So they're kind of, I think, some AI generation there, but that's a typical kind of thing, what we would look like the pergola to look like. The container might be a little longer, but maybe not the stools in front, but yeah, something similar to that.
And it looks like in this particular picture, they're selling beverages.
Yeah, it could be beverages, it could be prepackaged food. We don't know for sure yet. We don't have a selected vendor yet. So
are you going to have a person that will be manning it?
So we would actually lease it to a small business. We wouldn't do it ourselves.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
For the ground itself, is that gonna be left grass? Is it?
No, so it's concrete. We're having premium services is already provided us. They're going to do concrete pavers and things. So it's going to be a hardscape surface.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. At this time, we'll open up for any comments for this. Any comments against this? Okay. Then I'll call up the staff.
The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow the property at 131 South Main Street to allow for temporary structures not related to construction for a temporary pocket park. Section 15.2 permitted uses in the CBD Central Business District does not permit temporary structures unless associated with active construction on a site. 131 South Main Street formerly housed a 3-story building within the Central Business District that was demolished in 2019 due to neglect by the previous owner. The Redevelopment Commission took title to the vacant land through tax sale in 2024. The goal of the local redevelopment commissions is to facilitate development on underutilized properties in cities within a specific boundary area. In an ongoing effort to activate underutilized parcels around the downtown core within Elkhart, the Redevelopment Commission is developing a plan for a temporary pocket park on the land until a more permanent plan for a new building is determined. The need for the use variance comes from the fact that the temporary structures are only permitted as a part of an active construction site. The specific request is to permit the placement of 2 shade structures, a small kiosk container, seating, and bollards to act as a barrier from the alley at the western edge of the site as a part of the temporary pocket park. Parks are a permitted use within the Central Business District. This temporary use will activate the property and allow people within the downtown neighborhood a place to stop and eat lunch, rest under one of the shade canopies, or buy a sandwich and a drink from a vendor leasing the space in the kiosk container structure. There will be no power outlet provided, seating designed for individual users rather than benches, and will also be well lit. All of the elements incorporated into the pocket park will be reused at other parks or in other places within the city once a building is approved for redevelopment on the site. Staff are in the process of working with a local architecture firm to develop elevations that reinforce the historic context for this and other infill development sites within the downtown. This work will be used as a part of the request for proposals to reinforce the visual aesthetic desired for the vacant infill lots. This temporary pocket park and structures are intended to be just that, temporary. The ultimate goal is to replace the building on the site with a structure that will reinforce the urban edge. Staff recommends approval of the use variance based on the following findings of fact. Number 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the temporary canopy and kiosk will be built per all applicable building codes. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the temporary structures will allow for some gathering space and should not impact negatively surrounding uses or values. Number 3, granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of this ordinance because a small measure of relief when uniquely warranted. Number 4, special conditions and circumstances do exist which are peculiar to the land involved and which are not applicable to other lands or structures in the same district because without board action and because the temporary structures are not associated with a construction site on this parcel would not be permitted. Number 5, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance would result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because without some relief from the standards, the temporary park elements would not be permitted. Number 6, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from any action or inaction by the applicant because no construction has started. Number 7, the property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. Conditions: if the board chooses to approve the requested use variance, staff recommends that the following conditions be placed upon the approval. Number 1, the approval is for a term of 2 years and must be reheard as a staff item in May of 2028 if a redevelopment plan for a new building has not yet been approved by the Redevelopment Commission. There were. $38 letters mailed, 1 returned in favor with no comment.
All right. Questions for staff?
Is there already water and sewage right there to be tapped into for the
They
structure?
won't be utilizing anything. Well, there is water available, so they would be able to. I'm sorry, I was thinking for restrooms. No, for the building itself, yes, there is water and sewer available that can be accessed.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion.
I move to approve 26 UV 14 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present petition, and adopt the one condition that was put on it.
Sorry, second?
Lightman,
Yes.
Lindley,
Yes.
Evangelikov.
Yes. All right, passes. And if it looks as nice as those AI pictures, it'll be wonderful. Great addition.
Yeah.
Good.
And
good.
just to keep in mind too, I know a lot of people have their dogs right there and that's the only little spot. So if you could keep a little grass, maybe, just maybe. Okay, good.
As long as they.
I
pick
see
up-
dogs there all the time. I'd feel bad if people lost their
Yeah.
little bit of land that was there.
Okay. Right. 26, let's see, we're at 26 UV 09. Petitioner is Lyndon Martin.
The petitioner is Lyndon Martin. The site location is 2111 South 17th Street. The request is to vary from section 18.2 permitted uses in the M1 limited manufacturing district to allow for auto sales.
Hey, if we could have the petitioner come up at this time.
Good evening, Lyndon Martin.
Good
Thank you
evening.
for taking your time out this evening for
Mhm.
this. I purchased this property. It was actually quite a dump. It hasn't had water, sewer, or water or gas for about 25 years. And as you can see in the picture there, I just transformed it into a Class A property.
Mhm.
And as you can see, it also was all past repair, whatever. We still want to do some repairs, tending, something like that. And also request to do auto sales out front. It's not really set up much for manufacturing, what it's zoned for. And they did put the concern in there about trucks, whatever, parking out. It's not going to be a big auto lot, so it's not like we're going to bring semis in, like semi loads in or whatever. It'll be a small car or two here, that type of thing. If the wood perhaps come semis, I own a self-storage facility right around the corner, about 3/4 mile. We'd be happy to park there if it's large quantities, no street blockage.
Okay,
Just ask for your permission. Any
okay.
questions?
Well, I drove by it last night and it actually looks very nice.
Thank you.
I'm not a huge fan of used car lots. However, I think what you've done with the lot certainly makes it look like it would be nice looking and fairly appropriate for the neighborhood. Any other questions?
I don't have
If
any
I-
questions.
If I could add to that, the way I fixed this property up is the way we want to continue operating this business. Car sale. I had some inquiries about let me think here, towing company. I was like, I don't want smashed cars there. I don't want this. I fixed this property up, and as you see, the neighbors got excited about this property too, and they started fixing theirs up, and it just like transformed that whole corner.
That's great.
We like to see that.
Yeah. Have you seen the conditions?
Yes.
And you would agree to all of those conditions?
Oh, definitely. We'll have higher standards. than
Okay,
this.
all right. Any other questions?
Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure it's not in here because I know in the past we put a 2-year
We have. That's not in there for this one. What we have said is that if he sells to someone else, the right to have a used car lot there will not transfer with the sale.
And after 2 years, he has to come back every 2 years, kind of, and re-ask for.
Okay, we haven't,
Done that.
we have with that one on Jackson.
If I'm just throwing that out, just to make sure that things are maintained. throughout
Okay,
too.
so Eric, we're going to add a 7 to this. And that's going to be in 2 years' time. If we'll ask you to come back, we'll take a look again and drive by and see how everything looks and see how the traffic patterns are. And then if everything's good, then you'll be good to go. But we are asking for that.
Yeah, no, that sounds,
Sold.
That's in there. That's
there's- Oh,
number
sorry.
5. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
all right,
Okay, thank you. At this time, is there anyone who would like to speak for the petitioner? Against the petitioner? Okay, I'll call the staff up at this time.
The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow the property at 2111 South 17th Street to be used for auto sales. Section 18.2 permitted uses in the M1 Limited Manufacturing District does not permit auto sales. The land had previously been used for a contractor's office and storage facility from 2013 to roughly 2025. The property had a long history of being used for auto repair and adjourning uses. The petitioner has recently paved the parking area in March of 2026, and improvements have been made to the property with new siding and a roof in 2025. This M1 district is typically associated with manufacturing and distribution of goods in smaller planned manufactured districts. The permitted uses allowed in the M1 district are more intense than the requested that are allowed by right. The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow the property to be used for used auto sales, to lease the property out to someone interested in using the site for auto sales. The request comes to us based on a phone call with the petitioner with zoning staff about the process of being able to use the site for auto sales. Staff appreciates the petitioner's desire to put the property back in use, but has concerns related to this location being used for auto sales. The loading and unloading of cars from a transport truck would be done in the public street, which would block the road due to the small size of the lot. As the variance runs with the land, the size of the parcel would not change. Loading and unloading would always be a challenge. The property is located in the M1 zoning district. The purpose of the M1 district is to accommodate limited manufacturing uses, having a minimum impact on surrounding area. The intent is to allow manufacturing development by reason of location and availability of adequate transportation and infrastructure systems, which protect the surrounding uses from negative external effects. Some examples of the M1 uses are auto and truck repair, professional offices, contracting offices, shop and storage facilities. Business activities must be conducted wholly within completely enclosed building, including but not limited to loading docks, doors, dumpsters, to be screened. The city supports redevelopment activity that falls in line with the current permitted uses found in the M1 section of the ordinance. Surrounding the property is a mix of commercial and industrial uses. Staff cannot support the request. Recommendation. Staff recommends denial of the use variance based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare because the property will be used only for the display of auto cars. Number two, the use and value of the adjoining to the property will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner because the use as a auto sales is less intense than other permitted uses. Number three, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will not constitute a unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought because many of the permitted uses listed in the M1 section of the zoning ordinance could be established on the site. Number four, special conditions and circumstances do exist, which are particular to the land involved and which are not applicable to other land or structures in the same district because without board action, auto sales on this parcel would not be permitted. Number five, the strict applications of the terms of this ordinance would not result in practical difficulty in the use of the property because establishing a permitted M1 use could be established on the site. Number six, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from an action or inaction by the applicant because the zoning classification has been in place for decades and no auto sales have been established. And number seven, this property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. If the board chooses to approve the requested use variance, staff recommends that the following conditions be placed upon the approval. Number one, all vehicles must be in running condition, no flat tires, broken windshields, or cars that require major auto body repair. Number two, all vehicles shall be parked on a approved surface. Number three, no vehicle parts may be stored outside. Outdoor storage is prohibited. Number four, the parking lot is to be kept in good repair, striped, and weed-free. Number five, the approval only applies to the current owner. Should the business close or cease operation for any reason, the approval is null and void. Number six, as the site is limited on navigational area, no on-street loading or offloading of vehicles is permitted. And then number seven is in 2 years, this would be reviewed as a staff item as the May 2028 BZA meeting.
Right.
There was.
Pardon me.
Oh, you're fine.
I always forget about
I
the
know, I do
letters.
too. There was 12 letters mailed out and 0 received.
I just want to make sure that number 5 says what we want it to say, because it doesn't say if the lot is sold that the license carries on. It says if the business closes or ceases operation.
Because the license goes with the business owner. The use, that's different than the use by this board locally. The license goes with the individual business owner. So should the business close, they have to reapply for a business license.
I get that, but if the lot is sold to someone else, will the business be able to keep running? Or will it have to cease operations? And do we want it to? I mean, I don't know.
Well, the way I had written it was that related to to the owner of the property. He could lease this out and he could then sell it, but the tenant could stay. If you want to,
Okay.
if you want to differentiate that and basically it doesn't matter if the owner or the business, that they would still come back in 2 years regardless.
Right.
That would happen.
Okay.
I'm fine either way.
Okay. I think it's fine. And then, so it did say in here, and honestly, on my first reading, I didn't notice this, that the owner is leasing the operation of the used car lot. Are you the person that's going to be running the used car lot?
Needs to come up here.
Yeah, you need, because I'm so sorry I didn't notice that
I
before.
also too missed that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I see your concern. I will be leasing it, but I will be very heavily involved, especially in the first 2 years as far as financially and making sure this is going to be successful because I fixed it up successful and I want this to continue to be successful.
Okay.
So then the second part of condition 5 directly applies to you as your business.
Mhm.
Okay.
Applies to the
The
current
business,
owner.
like the auto license will not be in my name as far as,
Right,
Okay.
you are leasing, you're leasing the business out. You're not going to be the owner of the business.
I'm not going to be the owner of the business, but I'll be
Okay.
heavily involved in the financial end.
Okay.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Any other questions?
No, that was my question.
Okay, so no other questions for staff? Okay. Then, let me think about how we always have to be positive. Staff is not in favor. And staff, if the staff is not, yes. That's it. We use the second one. Well, no, this is tricky when we do. Yeah,
Then we would.
we would vote. Oh, how would we vote then?
Yeah, sorry, this is always.
I know.
Since we have recommended against.
Yeah.
And if you want to recommend differently or make an approval rather than a denial, the recommendation is still in the affirmative, but then you would adopt the petitioner's. Yes,
Still yes or no.
correct. But then you have to adopt the staff's recommendations along with this, with the petitioner's.
So we would vote yes to approve the petitioner's
Findings, yes.
request.
Mhm.
And then we would have to put in the staff's conditions.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. This does not come up that often. We've done it before, but I've slept since we did it the last time, so. Do that.
Okay. All right. Let me get the right numbers in front of me. I move to approve 26 UV09 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentations as the finding of fact in the present petition, and adopt all conditions listed in the staff report, of which there were 6.
7,
Nope, 6. And then adopt the following conditions.
yes.
A 7th, which is the 2-year review.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call.
Lightman,
Okay, I just want
Now we have to figure out which way we vote.
a yes is for staff. Approval of staff's report. Approval of him. Okay.
Approval of the petitioner.
My vote is a no then.
Okay,
My vote is a yes.
and my vote is a yes. Sorry, we were rushing you there.
Oh, we ran over rain.
We
Sorry.
did. So we do not have a majority. So we're going to have, you're going to have to come back and next month, you're going to have to come back when we have 4 people and we can see if it passes or fails. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
The next up is 26 BZA 12, the petitioner's Hydro Extrusion USA LLC. The site location is 3406 Reedy Drive. The request is to vary from section 26.4A6 fence requirements, which states in part that no fences other than split rail, wrought iron, or open picket not extend or not exceed 4 feet in height shall be permitted in any front yard or corner side yard, to allow for a 7-foot chain link fence, 6 foot of which is the fence and 1 foot is the 3-strand barbless wire in the front yard, a variance of 3 feet.
Okay. If the petitioner could come up and tell us what they would like to do.
Okay. My name is Paul Maycumber, owner of Patriot Fence and designated representative of Hydro Extrusions. Right now, there's no fence out front and there's an entrance and exit, and it's sort of, I don't know, pandemonium a little bit. There's a lot of traffic out there day and night. Semis going in, they actually load off the east side of the building. There's a scale, excuse me, there's a scale out there, and we would erect the fence just south, north of the scale with an automated gate on the east side of the scale and an automated gate on the west side of the scale. And then it will, we ask for the variance. I believe this is where it comes to the front yard. To turn 90 degrees, go south, and then turn 90 degrees, go west, and then 90 degrees north back into the building. And what that does is contain all the overhead doors and give enough turnaround space for trucks to pull in and back to actually access all the garage and still keep the public safely away from this area. They have had instances of cars going in opposite direction against everything, and this fence would actually create a barrier to remedy the situation.
Well, I hope so. I was there. Yes, I took a look yesterday, and like you say, it was pandemonium. It was just, I don't know how you guys keep what's coming and going. And you think this fence will help?
It'll create a direction of entry and exit. It'll be the entry point will actually be on the east side of the scale, which is the farthest away point from the building. There is existing 6-foot fence on that side running north and south and then along the toll road. This is just to contain that area, create a direction of entry and exit. The west side will be considered a free exit. We'll put sensors up so when a vehicle comes, the gates will open and they can leave out that, which gives a directional entry. And then on the west side of the building too, there are there's parking lots for regular cars and automobiles. That's parking lot. And we're going to run the fence just north of that to separate that public parking and then back into the building, which still keeps that manufacturing area and the shipping and receiving separate from those areas. Since there's public parking spaces and then the main pandemonium express. So,
Okay.
and there's semis going in and out of there all the time. So,
Yeah. Well, I will say that on that street, there are other buildings that do have fences in the front. They just don't go across like the nice part of the building where, you know, people walk in and out. And
Right.
you stopped that before that section of the building. So I think we'll be okay. Are there any questions?
No, thank you for the extra information though, because we were kind of in the middle of nowhere with this earlier.
And thank you for working with our guys too to make this.
Oh, it's great. I want to thank again for the building permit center. I mean, clarity and, you know, questions, they answer questions that I don't even know I needed to ask. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we just want to be right. I did bring some pictures because of the last meeting we had of the barbless wire example. This is not in context with the chain link fence, but there is barbless wire on it. I was trying to get over to the AES building over by Voyant, and I couldn't get over there in time to get pictures. But this, if you'd like to see the barbless wire, it's the top strand on this fence, but it's taut. It's very,
Okay. Yeah.
and that just shows that there's no sharps on it to injure anybody under 7 foot. And again, this is tipped out. And
Yep.
like the standard barbed wire form, it's a climb preventative is what we'd put it up as. So nobody could actually come up and easily jump over the fence.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Got it. You can have a seat
thank you.
and then is there anyone that would like to speak for the petitioner? Anyone who would like to speak against the petitioner? Okay, staff?
Okay, I would like to, for the record, say that we have an amended staff report that I will be reading that I have provided each of the members this evening. And I just provided you the petitioner's updated findings, which he submitted to us earlier.
Yes.
Then there's a graphic that I'm going to have and refer to in my staff report for you. So we'll kind of go back and forth with that,
Okay. That's this one.
with the item that's circled on it. The petitioner is seeking to vary from section 26(4)(a)(6) fence requirements, which states in part, no fences other than split rail, wrought iron, or open picket fences not to exceed 4 feet in height shall be permitted on any front yard or corner side yard to allow for a 7-foot chain link fence, 6 foot of which is the fence and 1 foot as the 3-strand barbless wire in the front yard, a variance of 3 feet. The petitioner is seeking a variance to provide additional security at the facility and add separation from the public parking area and the manufacturing shipping operation area in the front of the building. The fence would front Reedy Drive before connecting to an existing fence at the east side of the property. A permit for the fence was submitted on January 7, 2026, with staff alerting the applicant that the fence did not meet development standards for fencing in the front yard on January 8. The applicant then filed with the board on March 17, 2026. A portion of the fence closest to Reedy, and see the attached figure that I just provided you, is why the developmental variance is required. So the area that I circled is the area that we're talking about. This approximately 100 feet of fence is proposed to be placed closer to the street than the building to enclose outdoor storage of materials. There are similar fences already existing to the west of the property that encloses, which is directly adjacent to the AEP equipment, and then beyond farther recreational and RV recreational business beyond to the west. This area was annexed some years ago from Elkhart County. The county regulations are different from the city related to fencing. It is very likely that the non-conforming fence for the RV plant was placed prior to annexation, as our rules for industrial fence placement have been in place for over 20 years. The area is zoned for manufacturing, and some relief from fence placement requirements is not that out of line for the zoning district. And I would add that the fence around the AEP equipment, we have no control over. That is a public utility, and they have to be able to secure it, and we have no regulating authority over that equipment. The request for security and to separate the public and private areas is understood. This is a very common occurrence in industrial areas. Upon further investigation and a site visit by staff, there is outdoor storage placed in the front yard, and based on aerial photographs, the outdoor storage area has grown over time and is now permanently located within the front yard, which is not permitted by ordinance. Staff is willing to offer compromise. Staff would like to have additional discussions with the petitioner to understand the needs of the business and work toward a solution that comes closer to complying with the outdoor storage requirements. Staff would like to see if some of the material could be relocated on the campus to reduce the amount of material stored in the front yard. A truck scale was constructed around 2015, and that is located in the front yard closer to the road than the business. I'm sorry, I didn't circle that, but there is this truck scale. So staff is willing to consider that 2015 structure as the outermost structure on the campus and have the fence be in line with the scale. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the developmental variance to vary from section 26(4)(a)(6) fence requirements, which states in part, no fence other than split rail, wrought iron, or open picket fence does not exceed 4 feet in height shall be permitted on any front yard or corner side yard to allow for 7-foot chain link fence, 6 feet of which is the fence and 1 is the 3-strand barbless wire on the front yard, or in the front yard, a variance of 3 feet, and that is the recommendation is to be modified to be in line with the truck scale. Number 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the fence will be built and installed in a workmanlike manner. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the fence is a typical element found in industrial districts. The fence's location should not affect the use and value of an adjacent property. Number 3, the granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of this ordinance because a measure of relief is allowed when warranted. Additionally, only a portion of the fence requires the filing of the developmental variance. Number 4, special conditions and circumstances do exist as the proposed fence is to provide security and to separate the public from the campus. This site has several hundred feet of frontage, which does require security. A fence is a typical element to provide security. Number 5, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the proposed fence provides some measure of security and would provide for some measure of organization for the outside storage for finished product. Number 6, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from any action or inaction by the applicant as the fence has not yet been installed. And number 7, the property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. There were 10 letters sent, 1 returned in favor.
Okay. Very good. Any questions for staff? I'm fine. Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve 26 BZA 12 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present petition. And there are no conditions.
Second?
Second?
Roll call?
Lightman,
Yes.
Lindley,
Yes.
Evangelista Rickoff.
Yes. All right, very good. Go build your fence. Yay. Okay, our next one is 26 BZA 14. The petitioner is Waste Away Group.
The site location is 707 North Wildwood. The request is to vary from section 18.6 yard requirements in the M1 Limited Manufacturing District to allow for a 16-foot front yard setback when 25 feet are required, a variance of 9 feet. Also to vary from section 26.4.a.6 fence requirements, which states in part that no fence to exceed 4 feet in height shall be permitted on any front yard or corner side yard to allow for a 8-foot welded steel fence in the front and corner side yard, a variance of 4 feet.
Would the petitioner come up, please, and tell us what you'd like to do?
Good evening. My name is Brian McMorrow. I'm a licensed professional engineer in Mishawaka with V3 Companies, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant and owner, Waste-Away Group. Joining virtually is our architect, Morgan Filipiak from Harris Architects, in case there's any questions about the building. And joining me here in person is Dominic Remis, a region engineer with Waste Connections, Inc., the parent company of Waste-Away Group. So hopefully anything I don't provide initially, we've got the professionals to respond. Waste-Away Group has been doing business here in Elkhart for 60 years, and they employ about 250 people here. The subject property is really 14 different tax parcels that are contiguous and together form a campus of about 4.7 acres of land. There's about 760 feet of frontage along the westerly side of Wildwood Avenue that extends from West Beardsley on the north down to where Laurel Street terminates at Wildwood. A sister company, Cottonwood Properties, owns several tax parcels to the west, two of which have frontage on North Napanee Street. And in fact, one of the parcels are being used as a common stormwater management facility to treat runoff from the developed portion of this project. The objective, quite simply, is to construct, operate, and maintain a new one-story shop building near the corner of West Beardsley and Wildwood, having a footprint of 100 by 156 and a roof line that slopes from east to west. So it'll be 27 foot high on one side and 25 foot high on the other side. There's going to be 7 garage doors on the east face and 7 on the west face to allow trucks to pass from east to west and then make their way back into the yard as they exit. So routine maintenance of their fleet is going to be done in this building. The shop building was proposed with a north-south orientation to provide the appropriate on-site traffic circulation I just mentioned, and also to be sensitive to the fact that West Beardsley may be considered a gateway to Elkhart, so we're going to have no garage doors facing north along West Beardsley. There's also, to the south of the building, the presence of an AEP Indiana-Michigan power overhead line that doesn't allow us to kind of move the building further south. They all contribute, these factors, to having us have at least a portion of the building in the front yard along West Beardsley. I will draw your attention, if I may, to the exhibit that I included in the packet. It's the aerial, the Google map. It's after the affidavit and before our series of site plans. You got it right there. So I highlighted on there that there is precedent for a building to be as close as 21.5 feet to the curb line of West Beardsley that you can see there. Our building is going to be 24 foot 9 feet back from the curb line, 3 feet further than the building, which is at 1621 West Beardsley, a health clinic. And lastly, on the same exhibit, the 2 metal sheds with earthen floors that exist there today are going to be removed and replaced with our new shop building. There'll be new paving, new landscaping, and that decorative fence that we talked about. Staying with the same exhibit, there's an existing curb cut on West Beardsley that we're going to take out, and it's going to be landscaped. And there's also along Wildwood about 100 foot of continuous driveway opening with gravel, and there's dumpsters there right now. That's all coming out. It's going to be landscaped, and it's really going to be an attractive, we think, upgrade to the neighborhood. So I'm happy to be part of the team that has, except for these 2 provisions needing relief from the zoning ordinance, complies in every other respect to the code. And I'm of the opinion will provide a significant aesthetic impact to this corner of the city. As always, it's been a pleasure to work with staff, Eric and Anthony, and others. Our process does include 2 petitions that were filed at about the same time, a minor subdivision plat, which consolidated a number of those 14 tax parcels to really eliminate a number of variances that might have otherwise been triggered. And we are going through final site plan tech review. We've not completed that process and are happy to work with staff to maybe tweak some of the aesthetics in a way that would be maybe even better than what we're proposing. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
What is the purpose of the fence as it runs along Beardsley?
Primarily for safety. Any pedestrians that might be, there is no sidewalk there. So they're going to be walking, on the lawn. That is going to be an active vehicular area with trucks moving. So it's primarily safety to keep any pedestrians out from cutting across that corner there. And we're doing it, it's going to be a black wrought iron like, so it should be an attractive fence there.
Why 7, 8 feet as opposed to the 4 feet that?
4 feet is more of, in our view, more of a residential neighborhood height, and probably was what was intended when the code was written, and can be easily scaled by somebody who wants to jump the fence. So the 8 foot, although we're not putting barbed wire on the top, it should do the trick and keep pedestrians separated from the vehicles.
And then what about a 6 foot? Thoughts on why not 6 feet instead of 8? We just normally don't hear 8 feet.
Sure. I'm going to turn to Dominic, who's going to own and operate the building.
Are you going to throw Dominic under the bus here? Yes.
Dominic Remis, region engineer with Waste Connections. And, we're just happy to be here in Elkhart. We purchased the Heimco business a couple of years ago, and wow, it's just been a fantastic business, and we've been working on making some upgrades to some of the facilities, and the city's been great with giving us the permits to do the building and that we've been proposing. And so this one here is really going to be a nice upgrade. Our mechanics are literally working in buildings that are over 100 years old and doing preventive maintenance, and they can barely fit these modern trucks in them. It's just, so we're excited about this new facility for our mechanics, and they're just great technicians. And as you know, finding technicians to work on vehicles, they're like gold. And so, we want to give them a nice facility to work in. Now, to speak directly to your question on the height of the fence, 8 feet is for us, maybe not typical for you. I'll acknowledge that, but for us, it's a typical fence height around our facilities, not only from, as Brian mentioned, the safety of pedestrians, keeping them impeded from, or the notion of even trying to climb it, but also from a theft standpoint. People, we've found around our facilities, folks want to jump into our trucks and just go through them, and for personal items, loose change, whatever, or just vandalism or whatnot. We've found 8 feet to be a common fence height around our facilities around the country. We build shops for our business. We're in 46 states and 5 provinces in Canada, and so we do a lot of this, and this is just a typical fence height. So,
okay.
Any other, before I sit down? Any other?
Are we good?
I think we're good. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're fine. Okay. At this point, is there anyone that would like to speak for the petitioner?
I would actually.
No,
Honestly, can I?
well, sure you can.
So the fence that they're proposing, I'm familiar with it, but it creates a better aesthetic for the property. And chain link is more industrial, and you can go 6, 7, 8 foot with all that. I believe their investment is for more beautiful. I mean, it's a beautification for Elkhart. I would love to see a lot of that put up. they're investing in this fence. And 8 foot is virtually climb proof, especially when it's ornamental because of the upright structures. There's no way to post your feet. It will actually provide more safety, but yet it also gives a very good aesthetic to the property. So that's just the view of it. It costs more and it costs more to repair, but again, I think it would create a better aesthetic along the roadside in a somewhat heavily pedestrian trafficked area. So
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You know who to call.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to speak against the petitioner? Okay, let's call the staff up then.
The petitioner is requesting a developmental variance in order to construct a new storage facility at the corner of West Beardsley Avenue and North Wildwood. The request is to vary from section 18.6 yard requirements in the M1 limited manufacturing district to allow for a 16-foot yard setback when 25 foot is required, a variance of 9 feet. Also to vary from section 26.4A6 fence requirements, which states in part that no fences in to exceed 4 feet in height shall be permitted on any front yard or corner side yard to allow for an 8-foot welded steel fence in the front and corner side yard, a variance of 4 feet. The petitioner is in the process of tearing down an existing 1,400 square foot storage building and building a new 15,600 square foot shop. The facility will be used to repair and provide maintenance to equipment used by the applicant. Due to the configuration of the property and the placement of the building layout requires some relief from the developmental standards. Placement of the building matches 1730, 1710, and 1642 West Beardsley, which are used for auto repair. The narrow side of the building faces the street with garage doors along the east and west of the building. The project has been submitted through technical review, and this variance action was one of the few last items to be addressed for a complete project approval. The proposed placement of the fence along West Beardsley Avenue and North Wildwood will be an 8-foot wrought iron style fence with the front and corner side yard. This fence is meant to provide added security to the site and reduce possible break-ins while equipment is being repaired. Staff recommends approval of the developmental variance for a wrought iron style fence based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the fence will be built and installed in a workmanlike manner. And number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the fence is a typical element found in industrial districts. The fence's location should not affect the use and value of the adjacent property. Number three, granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of the ordinance because a measure of relief is allowed when warranted. Additionally, only a portion of the fence requires filing of the developmental variance. Number four, special conditions and circumstances do exist as the proposed fence is to be installed on the subject property in a corner side and front yard. Number five, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the proposed fence provides some measure of security and would otherwise greatly limit the amount of outside storage for finished product without the fence. And number six, special conditions and circumstances do not result from any action or inaction by the applicant as the fence has not yet been installed. And number seven, the property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. Staff also recommends approval of the developmental variance for setbacks based on the following findings of fact. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the storage building will be constructed and inspected to ensure that it is built to all applicable code requirements. Number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the area is located within the M district and storage buildings are a common use. Number three, granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of this ordinance because a small measure of relief when uniquely warranted. Number four, special conditions and circumstances do exist which are peculiar to the land involved and which are not applicable to other lands and structures in the same district. Due to the location of the existing buildings, the area left for development is somewhat limited, thus requiring a variance for the development. Number five, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the owner would not be able to place the structure in the most practical location. Number six, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from action or inaction by the applicant. And number seven, the property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. And then subsequent to our staff writing and then with conversations with the petitioner's agent, staff would like to add one condition at the end of this approval. And for the.
For which one?
Pardon me?
For which one?
For the setback. Well,
For the
it would
setback?
be for the setback because it's related to the building.
Okay.
Staff is adding a condition that, that there be some brick wainscoting added along the front facade of the building along West Beardsley to break up the facade a little bit and to match more of the other buildings in the area.
Okay. All right.
And are you guys aware of that
Yeah.
condition?
Okay. Great. That would be good.
It is a gateway into the downtown and we wanted to just add one little bit of extra elevating the building.
Mhm.
There were 21 letters sent. One returned with no comment, one returned not in favor. With comments related to the height and reduced setback would negatively impact the visual appearance of the area and create visibility concerns near the roadway.
It's not the one I would think they'd have problems with.
Oh, I need to correct the record. I apologize. There were 21 letters mailed, one returned not in favor. This is for the other case. This is for the use variance. I apologize. It got added to this case.
All right. Any questions for staff?
The fence height, Eric, why
I'm
8
sorry.
instead of 7 or 6?
I'm sorry.
The fence height, why did you guys choose to go with 8 over 7 or 6?
Well,
And that's not really standard for us either, correct?
from our perspective, the style of the fence.
Which we love.
Yes, I think the style is great. It's just this 8-foot monstrosity on
Well,
Beardsley.
It is taller than what we normally see in front yards. But in taking a few things into consideration, in our minds, made this circumstance a little unique. One, the location, it is a gateway coming into downtown, and the style of the fence really impressed us. I mean, we normally get much more basic fences, and so this was greatly appreciated in staff's mind. And secondly, we do agree with the petitioner with regard to the security and safety. 8 feet is going to make it much more challenging and create both a visual and a real and perceived barrier for people trying to get into the building. They're not going to be able to scale that as easily. And if they get halfway up, hopefully someone would see them and call the police or an alarm would go off.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Then we're going to do this with 2 motions. Let's do, which one first? The wrought iron, let's do the fence first. And the fence doesn't have any conditions, does it, Eric? Okay. All right, let's do the fence first.
Okay. Let me just find the actual. Okay, I move to approve 26 BZA 14, section 26(4)(a)(6), and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present petition. No conditions.
Seconded. Roll call?
Lightman,
Yes.
Lindley,
Yes.
Evangelista.
Yes. All right, very good. You'll get to build your fence.
Okay.
Now then, let's see where you'll put it. This one is for the setback. And this does have a condition
With the brick.
with the brick facing, yes. Okay. All right.
So I move to approve variance 26 BZA 14, section 1 for the section 18.6 yard requirements, and adopt the petitioner's document and presentation together with staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present position, and adopt the condition listed in the staff report, which is the addition of a brick wainscot facade to the north side.
And I second.
Roll call.
Lightman,
Yes.
Lindley,
Yes?
Cavandra Rickoff.
Yes. All right. Very good. Thank you. And thank you for your patience with our questions.
We just normally
Yeah, we just don't see 8 feet very
7,
often.
yes, but never 8. So
And especially on Beardsley, so that we have to be a little bit careful with Beardsley.
but
So,
thank you for making that wrought iron too.
yes, that's great. All right. Okay, and our last one of the evening is 26 UV 10.
The petitioner is Mount North Capital. The site location is 421 South 2nd Street. The request is to vary from section 15.2 permitted uses in the CBD Central Business District to allow for an amusement parlor. Previous board action 15-UV-01 for residential use on the first floor.
Okay. All right. At this time, I'd like to call the petitioner up, and if you could tell us what you'd like to do. And an amusement parlor, I think I knew what you were talking about, but
First.
yes.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Okay, so I'm Jackie Loss.
and I'm Tim Bradley.
Okay, so we were petitioning to change it's now a storage unit like warehouse, but we wanted to make it like a family entertainment center with like pool tables, like an indoor putt-putt. There's a golf simulator, VR games, something for the children, I guess, and family.
And the family and teenagers, a little bit for everybody, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
The entertainment center is not for a particular age. It varies. So we welcome kind of all ages with different entertainment, arcade entertainment, simulator entertainment, different fun entertainment for the family.
Okay.
Something I feel that is well needed in the area. We do have to travel to Mishawaka when we want to really venue out with the kids, or, you know, I thought it would be nice if we brought it in this area.
Especially in the wintertime when
Yes.
we don't want to be outside. Absolutely.
And with the honey pot right around the corner, with the kids already there, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
draws them.
Yeah.
You guys will actually be my neighbor. I can see from my kitchen window.
Oh. Are there any questions for the petitioner?
I had 2. Proposed hours of operation.
We will close by 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And then I didn't see anything about food, or it's just going to be amusements. You're not going to have a snack
It's gonna
bar.
be amusement. If we did venture off, that's another phase. If it was food, it would not be any kitchen accessible or food being served out of there. It would only be something that would be maybe something that's bought from across the counter, handed over enclosed.
Like prepackaged chips and a pop. Or,
Things of that nature,
Okay.
yes,
Nothing that we need.
to cook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 11 o'clock. Is there any? No,
It can be sooner. But
I mean,
yeah.
As a neighbor, that's a totally acceptable time. I think.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
You've
it's
got
great.
your neighbor talking, so.
There's bars around and stuff that are lively and unfortunately make way more noise than I think you guys would be making.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Good point. Very good point.
Do you guys know if you're in the opportunity zone?
I'm sorry.
This is a very random question, but do you know if you're in the opportunity zone? You might want to look into that. Just a little side note.
Okay, opportunity zone?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
For the actual building. And I'm assuming you're going to be leasing the space from the owner
Yes.
of the enterprise building. Okay,
Yeah.
just to clarify.
Okay.
Those are
Okay.
My only questions.
Okay. Anything else? All right. You can sit down, and is there anyone who would like to speak for the petitioner? Oh, there is.
Hi.
Wow.
Hi, I am Sam Voss. I am the project manager for Northwest Capital and the Enterprise Building. And I think it would be very something that's unique and would definitely provide entertainment for the community. And, you know, we do have the Honey Pot also in that building. So it's, you know, I don't know if you know what Honey Pot is, but it's a pottery. And they provide pretty much the same thing. They have a lot of kids around. So it's something else we thought would add to the building and also to the community.
Okay.
I do have one quick question for you,
Yes.
parking wise. I know there's a lot of parking on Second Street, but is there overflow parking in the back of your building or? on the
Yes,
side of it?
yes. Actually, in the back of the building, there's,
By the loading dock area?
by the, well, even behind the building.
Ah, okay, that's your guys'
Okay,
property
yeah,
still too?
that's,
Okay,
we own that parking lot, also the parking lot behind the restaurant across the street.
KO?
Cato's, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we own that parking lot too,
okay.
yeah.
Is there an entrance in the back or will they
Yes,
walk around?
yes, there's gonna be interest in the back parking lot.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Excuse me, anyone to speak against the petitioner? Okay. Staff?
The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow the property at 21 South Second Street to be used as a amusement parlor. Section 15.2 permitted uses in the CBD Central Business District does not permit amusement parlors. Amusement parlors, in quotations, room is defined as any public area or room containing one or more amusement machine. Amusement machines are defined as any machine or device designed or modified to operate by a coin or token, or for which change is made for the operation therefore of. Such a machine or device used exclusively for the vending of merchandise or tangible nature shall not be deemed an amusement machine. A potential tenant for one of the leased spaces wants to open an arcade in a currently empty space in the building. Golf and racing simulator, putt area, pool tables, darts, and arcade games are some of the proposed amusement games for this space. The CBD zoning district does not permit amusement parlors as a permitted use. The property is currently known as the Enterprise Building, but formerly the Elkhart Truth Building. The proposed amusement parlor would be located in a vacant retail space on the north end of the building. The building has already undergone substantial indoor remodeling for the existing tenant. The amusement parlor are permitted in the B2 and B3 business districts, but are not listed in the central business district. Staff recommends the use for an amusement parlor within the Enterprise Building. The downtown area of the city is growing, and having a diverse business base that provides activities for its residents is important. Recommendation. Staff recommends approval of the use variance based on the following findings of fact. Number one, approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the proposed use is within a building with a variety of uses and should blend well within the downtown. Number two, the use and value of the area adjoining to the property will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner because there will be only a minor exterior change to the existing building, and the proposed use should not cause a nuisance to adjoining uses. Number three, granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of this ordinance because a small measure of relief when uniquely warranted. Number four, special conditions and circumstances do exist which are particular to the land involved and which are not applicable to other land or structures in the same district because without board action, an amusement parlor on this parcel would not be permitted. Number five, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance would not result in practical difficulty in the use of the property because a established CBD use could be achieved on the site and providing for required off-street parking would be possible. And number six, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from an action or inaction by the applicant as the use does not currently exist. Number seven, the property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. Conditions. If the board chooses to approve the required use variance, staff recommends that the following condition be placed upon the approval. Number one, the petitioner will request an on-site meeting with the fire and building department within 90 days of approval to discuss building and fire requirements. There was 21 letters mailed and 1 phone call received in favor with no comment.
Any questions?
So it's kind of like the used car thing. Like if we approve this variance use and the business ceases to operate or a new owner comes along, can we put a condition on it that they have to come back and re-ask for variance use? Or does it go with the building?
Well, the use variance will go with the building.
Okay.
Or because it's you are modifying the list of permitted essentially the permitted uses for this particular property.
Okay.
So once this use variance is approved, it goes with the property irrespective of the ownership of the business.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And
Okay.
the reason we placed the conditions, and I apologize, and we didn't have a chance to meet with the petitioners prior to staff reports going out, that the fire department will help establish the capacity for the space, and the building department will help them to understand what will require very likely a commercial construction design release, because there are some openings that are going to be, that are proposed based on our conversations with the petitioners that will be closed up, and primarily specifically the area leading, the doorway leading from this area into the truck dock. So that will be closed up. So since they're modifying a commercial building with egress and ingress, they're going to very likely have to file for a commercial construction design release. In addition, the entry area that will have to be constructed on the back of the building that will allow them proper means of ingress and egress out of that, their entrance, so to speak, on the back side of the building will also very likely require a commercial construction design release, because this is a commercial building and they will have to modify or have to make sure they have ADA requirements, proper steps, handrails, all that.
Okay.
That's why we added the conditions.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, then can I have a motion?
All right. I move to approve 26 UV 10 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present petition. And there is the one condition of just meeting with the fire and building departments within 90 days of approval. Are you guys good with that? Okay.
Yes.
Second. Lightman,
Yes.
Lindley,
Yes.
Avondra Rickhoff.
Yes. All right. Build your amusement parlor. Is that the word?
I have a staff item. Actually, it's not a staff item. We need to correct the record.
Oh, okay.
When we heard 26 UV 14,
Mm-hmm.
we had 38 letters that were mailed out. Unfortunately, because we had a BZA 14 and a UV 14, one of the comments for UV 14 was placed in the BZA file.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just want to make the record correct for 26 UV 14. There was not one, but there were 2 people returned in favor with no comments.
Okay,
Because-
so in favor, but no comments. Okay.
Correct. We had one when we initially heard the request, but in shuffling the papers around, I realized that one had been stuck with the BZA. So for this, there were 2 people that responded in favor. I just wanted to make sure the record was correct.
Okay. I'd be
Okay.
concerned if there was one no, but 2 yeses I'm okay with.
I am as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Lightman,
Yes.
Lindley,
Yes.
Avondra Rickhoff.
Yes.